Welcome. I hope this gentle yoga practice provides more space and ease across your chest, shoulders, and upper back. Before we begin, make sure that you have either 2 yoga blocks handy, or you could grab a couple stacks of books instead. Sit comfortably, position your legs any way that works for you. And if you're comfortable placing one hand on your upper chest, do that, and maybe place your other hand on your low abdomen. And just notice how your breath feels in this moment. Notice if there's any tightness or achiness across your heart or your chest or your neck. We're going to really get into the breath and into the lungs and all around the heart in this class. When there's anxiety within and around us, the heart really takes the brunt of it. The chest really constricts in response to anxiety. So let's get free. Inhaling through the nose, breathe into your low belly and keep inhaling all the way up to your heart. And exhale, empty out the chest. Keep exhaling and empty out your belly. Do that again. Inhale into your lower hand, your belly. Keep inhaling all the way up to your chest. And gently exhale out your chest and out your belly. Release your hands to your knees. Just observe. Breath is everything. And let's go a little deeper here and practice some Ujjayi breath. Wrap your hands around the sides of the ribs so your thumbs are on your back and your fingers are around the fronts of the ribs. Again, we'll be breathing through the nose. This time, again, you'll breathe into the hands, but as you inhale, feel your ribs widen out to the sides as you breathe into each hand. And as you exhale, feel your front ribs knit in as though you're exhaling back into your thumbs. Again, inhale, expand your ribs as though you're breathing into your hands. And as you breathe out, send that exhale back into your thumbs so your abdominals engage. Continue inhaling wide into your hands. Exhale, feel your ribcage narrow as you press the breath out. Again, inhale. Widen the circumference of your ribs. Exhale. Knit your front ribs in. Release your hands onto your knees. And just notice now, how's your breath? Can you sit even a bit taller? What has shifted already with a little bit of mindful breathing? Now you can grab hold of your blocks or your 2 stacks of books and set up your props so that you're going to have your seat on your mat, so your sitting bones are not on any props, and you'll have one block underneath your upper back. So pretty high up between your shoulder blades. And then use your hands to grab your other block and line it up underneath your head. So you'll have a nice kind of opening across your upper chest, nice arc in your upper spine. And if you want your blocks on lower heights, you could do that as well. It might feel a little more easeful if your blocks are lower. Have your legs bent, your feet flat on the floor, feet mat width, knees drop in towards each other, palms face up. And now I'd love you to imagine that your hands are still on the sides of your ribs. So that second placement of the hands, that second type of breath work, Ujjayi. And imagine that you're inhaling wide into the ribs, to your upper chest. Really long, slow exhale. So that your breath bypasses your belly and it goes a little higher up into the thoracic region. Whenever your breath falters, it's okay. This is always a practice, of course, to breathe deeply and mindfully this way. Just keep coming back. You could keep your legs as they are, or you might take your legs into a diamond shape on the floor with the soles of your feet together and your knees wide, and maybe stretch your arms wider, almost like a V shape on the ground, back behind your head with your palms still facing up, just to access a different part of your pectorals. And now feel that breath. I know that anxieties, they can run wild for years even. And so you'll probably still notice them if, things have been a little bit stressful lately. But can you make your breath your focal point? Just let the anxieties kind of fade into the background. Hear your breath. And now, as we near the end of our time in this wonderfully passive chest opener, you can maybe reach your arms back behind you in space. Your hands won't touch the floor. Do have your arms shoulder width apart. And extend your arm bones back, back, back. Lengthen your sides. Big stretch back. Big breath here. Yeah, feels so good. Feel everything and just remind yourself this is good work. Return your feet flat on the ground if they weren't already. Prop up onto your elbows, and just so that you can remove your props off to the side and lie down on your back again. Once you're on your back, your feet mat width, legs are bent, knees knock in. This helps to widen your low back. Hands maybe rest on low belly. Just be still. Let yourself be breathed. Hug one knee in and then the other knee in. Your hands can hold the fronts of your shins or forearms wrap around your shins and sweetly tip left to right on your low back. Stay to the right for an extra deep breath and rock to the left for another breath. Like you're massaging your low back or massaging your glutes. And now grab one block, or if you have a cushion or whatever it is, and put it in between your knees. And tuck your knees towards your chest and all the way over to the right into a twist so that your outer right knee is down on the ground, left knee on top of the block. Firm your right hand on top of your outer left thigh. Open your left arm out to the left. Give a little squeeze into the block. With each exhale, anchor your left shoulder blade down. Feel your inhale travel higher up to your upper ribs, and as you exhale, draw your navel in and feel your chest turn to the left. Hug your belly button to your spine so that you can bring your knees back to center. And as you draw your knees up to your chest again, we'll move to the other side, knees all the way over to the left, and open your right arm in a T shape on the ground at your right side. Use your left hand to actively press down on your outer leg. Adjust yourself so that both your shoulder blades are on the ground. Really want you to feel that space across your chest. I know it might feel sticky or tight, but you can make space. So feel your inhale flow all the way up to your armpits. And as you exhale, turn and twist. think about turning your chest more to the right. And as you engage your low abdomen, draw your knees back to center, remove your block, find your feet flat on the mat in the center here. Just pause with a neutral spine. Roll over to one side, come up onto hands and knees, grab hold of your blocks. Now, we're using blocks here to actually create more space for cat-cows. But if you're finding that the blocks are just kind of in the way, then you don't need them. You can still do all of this with your hands on the mat. But if your fingers drape over the front edge of the block, that can be easier for wrist sensitivities. And again, the blocks create more height and space for your whole spine. Start to arc your spine, look up as you inhale. And as you exhale, tuck your tailbone in, look towards your belly button. Again, inhale, arc. Please flow with your breath at your own pace. I always like to go a little bit slower. I like to lengthen my breath even more, never rushing. And just simply be aware of what you're feeling across your chest and your upper back between the shoulder blades. When we're in a state of stress, the whole upper back can get stuck because of shallow breathing. And unfortunately, this affects and creates even more shallow breathing to ensue. But you're creating change here. With every breath and every mindful movement, you are creating change. When you've completed your cat-cows, press your hips to your heels for a child's pose with your hands on blocks. Now give yourself something to stretch into. So perhaps walk your blocks a little further forward. Blocks are shoulder width apart, your elbows are off the ground. Really press your hands into the block as though your hands are pushing forward into the blocks, and feel your hips tug back and down. How deep can you make your breath? Can you get your breath into all the chambers of your lungs? Take your time to come on up to hands and knees again. Walk your blocks a little closer to each other. Prop your elbows down onto the blocks. And again, another gentle reminder, you can do this without blocks. This will make it a little bit deeper so that we're finding more space around the lats and around all those sweet muscles around the armpits and chest. Hands in prayer. Walk your knees back a bit so that your hips are under your knees and your spine is nice and long. My forehead never touches the mat. It just kind of hovers above the mat. Pressurize your hands into each other and let your chest sink a little lower, hips pulling back and up. Now, where do you need more breath? Give it to yourself. Rise up onto hands and knees and place your right foot between your hands. And here I'm doing this with my hands on blocks. You can skip this, of course. You can have your fingertips on the mat. But here the blocks create more space in the upper spine, in the thoracic. Make sure your hands are now inside your foot. Your right foot is wider to the right. And I'm using the highest height of hands on blocks. And little squeeze of your left bum. Lift your upper chest and let your left ear drop to your left shoulder for a breath. And your right ear over to your right shoulder for a breath. Sweet little neck release. With your head in center, plug your shoulders back into their sockets. Lift your chest, widening across your collarbones. Deep, deep lunge. You can switch sides just by coming through hands and knees. And once you have your left foot forward, take your left foot wide to the left side of your mat and your hands or your blocks inside your left foot. Get as much lift up through your spine as you can. Tip your left ear over to your left shoulder for a full breath. Oh, that neck needs a lot of love. Right ear over to right shoulder for a breath. And then return your head and your chin to center for a couple more breaths. Prop your spine up even taller if you can. Outer shoulders draw back. And make your way to a standing forward fold anywhere on your mat. Have your feet about mat width apart and your second toes parallel to one another. So I'm using my blocks here to actually create a little more space under blocks under hands. Or you can tent your 10 fingertips on the floor and walk your blocks or your fingertips way out in front of you. Drive the weight down into your heels. Little bend in the knees. So you're quite light on your fingertips and your hands, even though you're reaching out through your arms, extend out through the sides. Feel your sitting bones widen and pull back. And simply walk your blocks or your hands over to the right, a little bit off your mat to the right. Nice bend in the right knee. Work your left hip back into the space behind you. Left leg a bit straighter. Crawl your hands or your blocks over to the left now. Bend your left knee 3 or 4 inches. Charge your right leg straighter as you ground your outer right foot. Draw your right hip back. Big breath. Find your hands in the center of your standing forward fold. Walk your feet in so that your feet are hip width apart from one another. Bow down your legs, release any neck tightness. Feel your skull hang heavily. We hold on so much in the neck. And really, how much do we need to keep holding on to? And for how long? Eagle arms in this fold. Wrap your right elbow under your left elbow. Give a little squeeze of your elbows and let your elbows pull lower towards the floor. Breathe across your upper back. So good. And switch sides. Left elbow under right elbow. Have a little bit of a lift in your low abdomen so that your belly button draws up away from your thighs. And feel your spine cascade down. Working your elbows a little lower than your hands. That's just kind of the energy there. And breathe wide across your upper back. Remembering it's not only the chest that gets stuck, but also across the upper back into kind of a rounded shape. So we're trying to create more space and awareness of the muscles across the back too. Meet me in a yogic squat with the feet pretty wide and feet in a bit of a turnout. You can always prop a block under your bum if that's good for you. I'm going to use my blocks under my hands here. And again, it's to create more space. Really tuck the chin in and down as the hands or blocks walk out in front. Really light through the hands. Dig your heels down. Feel your front body cinch in to round open your back as you tuck your chin. 2 more big breaths. Can you puff open your upper back more? Sit down on your bum and take your right shin in front of your left shin so that your both knees are almost at a 90-degree angle, so that your feet are right underneath your knees and your toes are flexed back. That might be enough, or you could take your right shin on top of your left shin. It's quite a bit deeper. Now walk your right fingers off to the right and take your left arm up and over into a side bend. Plant your left sitting bone down. It'll want to lift. Flex both feet. Splay your toes. And then with your chin off your chest, breathe open all those muscles between your left ribs. So we're really highlighting all the muscles around the rib cage today, so that you can breathe more deeply. Take your time to rise up and a little fold over the legs. I'm not going super deep here, but you might fold a little more deeply. Just play around and breathe into your outer right hip. And of course, we all know the hips store a lot of emotions, but really every muscle in the body stores emotions. Can you be aware and set it free with every exhale? Rise up out of that, and now cross your left shin in front of your right shin. It's almost like cross-legged, except you're crossing at the midpoint of the shins. Or left shin on top of right shin. Take your left fingertips out to the left, right arm up, and tip up and over to the left. Knit your front ribs in, keep your core contained, keep breathing up higher into your upper ribs. Relax your jaw. And with your seat grounded, rise up out of that. Find length in your spine, and then walk your fingers out in front and take a little fold over your legs. Soak your outer left hip with breath. You're doing so much for yourself with every mindful breath. Come on up and give your legs a little shake, 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 shake out of that. And let's just find an easy seat, how you began your practice. Elongate your spine and squeeze your shoulders up to your ears and roll them back and down. Again, squeeze your shoulders up, back and down. And go in the other direction. Roll the shoulders up, forward and down. Back, up, forward and down. You can tip your left ear to your left shoulder for a big breath. And your right ear over to your right shoulder for a big breath. Thank yourself for committing this short amount of time today to, I hope, what has been a transformative experience. That I hope that you have changed something, that something has been highlighted, or that some type of insight has been received. Big cleansing breath. It's all manageable. All the daily stressors. It's all manageable. Thank your dear body and thank your breath. Namaste.